Hello all and welcome, and I am the MGTOW philosopher, and I tell you, I couldn't be happier as I am right now. Hideous, ugly, 12-day-old hot dog face, Kathy Griffin has been fired from her job at the Mirage. All future engagements have been canceled. She's lost her job at CNN, hosting their New Year's Eve party with renowned communist leftist scumbag Anderson Cooper. She's had droves of endorsement deals pulled. She is falling. Her star is plummeting quickly. If it ever had any height at all, it is buried underground now. I love it. So the left's antics are finally backfiring. They've just been doubling down with their attacks on Donald Trump because they're so angry and pissed off that they didn't win like they were supposed to, because they've all been taught that they're entitled little snowflakes and everything they want they should have, and they should always be in charge, because for 8-10 years they had liberals all in government. They had Obama, and he was giving them everything they wanted, and he was spreading the propaganda on real thick. And they thought they just had it made in the shade. And then Donald Trump came along and crapped on their parade. And they are pissed. And they've been doubling down ever since. But I knew that eventually they would reach such a point of absurdity and ridiculousness that even their own people, even the other leftists that supported them, the majority would go, hey, wait a second, some of these people on our side are getting a little crazy here, and everybody's starting to think we're total nut jobs. A lot of people have been thinking that for a long time. You've just been so out of touch with reality and living in your own little echo chamber worlds where everybody parrots what you believe, that you didn't realize that the majority of people think you're nuts, and now you're waking up to the fact that, they think we're crazy. And it's people like this Kathy Griffin that's giving them that idea. Of course, we all think you're crazy, you leftist nut jobs, who agree with things like taking away guns from good people so that criminals can shoot them, and holding up bloodied, severed heads of sitting presidents, and basically saying, I want to kill you, Mr. President. Ha 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 ha. We're finally waking up. People are finally starting to wake up. They've known these nut jobs are nut jobs for a long time, but people have been so apathetic, wrapped up in their own lives and the reality of existence, that they didn't realize the amount of damage that these celebrities, these media scumbags, the leftist communist douches are doing to our country. And now people are starting to wake up, and the left's own tactics are backfiring on them. Advertisers are pulling out from Kathy Griffin. Kathy Griffin is suffering social justice from the right and the left. Not just the left. Generally speaking, it's the left that enacts social justice on people. But you see, the problem with that is that once you have been creating a social justice atmosphere for so long, you can't turn around and then complain when the right does it to you for good reason. So you have no leg to stand on, leftists. You have doubled down so much that now you're getting into super crazy territory where even the most apathetic Americans who could give a shit about politics, who could give a shit about celebrities, who could give a shit about anything and everything except for going to work and earning a paycheck, they're now starting to wake up and say, hey, hold on a second. I got to start giving a shit, or these people are going to steal the fucking country if they haven't already stole the fucking country. Jeez, I've been in a fucking stupor for too long. So you have gone batshit crazy. You have reached the point of no return, where even good people who couldn't give a shit before because they're too goddamn busy trying to pay their fucking electric bill are now saying, holy shit, I got to get out there. I got to get out there and protest. I got to get online and protest. I got to get on Twitter and social media, and I got to fight back against these people. And I got to be a voice. I got to be heard. Just like these crazy leftists have been working their asses off, pushing their zealot agendas, these ideologues, pushing their ridiculous nonsense that they believe will save the world, which will actually destroy it. These useful idiots that Lenin spoke of, useful morons. Good people are starting to wake up and realize we have to fight back against them. You see, you leftists, you had it good. You had everything. You had feminism. You had men in your back pocket. You had the balls in your purses. Men were just afraid of you. And all your social justice warrior identity politics bullshit had everybody cowering in fear. But you went too far. You got greedy. You got greedy and you wanted it all. You weren't happy with the majority of things being in your favor. I mean, you had to control every goddamn thing. You had to be tyrants. You wanted to be the tyrants, the new world order tyrants, and you just went too far. You got too greedy. You wanted to lash out. You didn't get your way, and you'd been getting your way for a long time. So like a spoiled child, you kept doubling down. You started getting more and more brazen and obvious in your attacks, and more ridiculous and nonsensical. Russia fixed our election. Oh my God, we have no evidence for that, but, let's just make it up and keep using anonymous sources, and, people will believe us because they're stupid sheep. Yeah, people are not that stupid. Most people don't believe you, media, because you're a bunch of fucking liars. And you keep doubling down, and doing ever more crazy shit and making ever more provocative statements that are clear lies against the president, and continuing to warp the information you get to make it serve your own narrative. And now you're chopping off presidents' heads and holding them up as a symbol saying, I want to murder the president and chop his head off. And you freak out his 11-year-old son. You disturb the whole goddamn country. And you actually thought this was a good idea. This just goes to show you that eventually the left will eat itself. It will destroy itself. But first it will take all of us with it if we don't stand up, fight back, and stop the madness. But I love it because the left's own tactics of social justice, shaming, boycotting, and petitioning to get people fired, and petitioning for these celebrities to lose endorsements, and it's working against them now. It's working against them now. The left has created their own worst enemy through their own tactics, and it's so great. They thought this stuff could only work against conservatives. These morons. This Kathy Griffin, she's shocked. Her mind is blown away. She can't imagine that the tactics she was using just the other day against righties, against conservatives, are now being turned against her, and they're working. Holy shit. She created her own worst enemy. And all of these leftist nut jobs, these feminist shills, have created the very weapon that will destroy them. Social justice. But real justice, baby. Conservative justice. Because when you piss off conservatives, when you get conservatives to the point where they're actually willing to put aside their normal everyday lives that take up so much of their time, because these are people who actually have to work for a living and work real jobs. When those people get pissed off enough to actually pay attention to what you're doing, wake up and say, hey, I'm going to speak up now, then you're in deep shit. You spoiled, privileged pussies. You've had it so easy, okay, that the moment you get any pushback, you fold like a cheap suit. Well, conservatives ain't like that. And when it takes this much to wake us up, it's like the sleeping dragon, baby. And you leftist scum are going down. Kathy Griffin, you fucked up. And this is just the first salvo in many more attacks to come. And we're not going to attack you. You're going to destroy yourself. That's the wonderful thing about the left. They get too emboldened. Because Americans have just been sitting back, and they just continue to act more and more reckless and ridiculous and nonsensical. But it eventually reaches a point where even the most apathetic American says, holy shit, I got to start getting involved now. And then the silent majority wakes up, and suddenly all you leftists who have been dominating the narrative because the majority has just been too fucking busy to pay attention to you and sees you as nothing more than an irritation, Well, now they're waking up, and you can no longer dominate because you are the loudest voice in the room, the craziest person in the room. As they say, the craziest person in the room runs the room. Well, the left are motherfucking crazy, and they've been the loudest, the most boisterous voice in the room. And all the conservatives have just been sitting there playing their checkers, not wanting to cause any disturbances, and we've let ourselves be cowed. We've let ourselves be intimidated, but no more, no more. Kathy Griffin is just the first casualty, and many more to come. And I'm sure the future leftists will destroy themselves just as she did, because they have no sense of reality. They are out of touch with reality. And they will destroy themselves with more doubling down and more ridiculous attacks against the president that will inevitably destroy them from the backlash of their own actions. And I'm going to sit back and watch, and I'm going to eat some popcorn, and I'm going to love the show. I am the MGTOW philosopher, and I wish you a good day. Take care.